of our economy, the small, medium, and big businesses that drive us forward. From the quaint corner stores on Broad Street to the local boutiques and small businesses in Balogun, medium-sized businesses fuel the engine of growth, providing job opportunities for countless individuals. These businesses form the lifeblood of our economy, working hand in hand to create a thriving ecosystem of commerce and prosperity. On Balogun Broad, we celebrate the resilience and ingenuity of small, medium, and big businesses. We don't just keep an eye on the stock exchange market, but in touch with our local markets too. Join us every Wednesday, 5 to 6 p.m. on Hard Facts 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
This is Hard Facts.
Five minutes gone past the 5 o'clock hour. This is welcoming you to the station's number one, the nation's number one talk news and sports radio station. We're broadcasting live from our audio-visual studios right here in Etimeyan Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. This is Balogun Broad on Hard Facts 99.3 Nigeria Info. I did say we're going to carry over some of the conversations that we had on the 4 o'clock hour onto the 5 o'clock hour because of my guest and the direction that we're going. Yes, of course, we might just be focusing on businesses, but most importantly, how are we dealing with this cost of living crisis? How do we adjust? How do we adapt? Do we adapt or die? Well, my guest I will introduce in a bit, but let me just paint a picture for those of you who do not realize, in case you're listening and watching us from outside of the country. You could join the conversation. Facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. We're also live on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. If you have our Nigeria Info FM mobile application, that way you can listen to us anywhere you are. Now, we all know that Nigeria is grappling with a severe cost of living crisis marked by soaring inflation, food insecurity, and struggling economy, impacting the ability of many Nigerians to afford basic necessities. Here are some of the key aspects of the crisis: high inflation, food insecurity, economic challenges, impact on households. Specific examples for this is the price of a loaf of bread, like I told you earlier on, has more than doubled, in some cases tripled. I told you. I tried to buy bread the other day. It was like 3,000 something. Ridiculous. Imagine. God bless my mother. She had 2 children, a boy and a girl. The girl doesn't eat. But imagine having 3 boys. How do you feed them a loaf of bread with minimum wage? Well, my guest here is the Chief Executive Officer. He's an entrepreneur, by the way, obviously. One of those who we'll be talking about. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Flash Change. His name is Bidemi Uke. Bidemi, it's so good to have you join us. Welcome to Balogun Broad.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I know that I just touched on, the surface of what we're going to talk about today. You're an entrepreneur. You run a business. You obviously are, where it pinches the most, especially trying to survive and keeping your head above water in today's Nigeria. What do you tell the average business person, knowing also that small businesses are what powers the economy of any country? How do you begin to explain to the average business person that there might be some light, if not touchlight, at the end of the tunnel? How do you even start to navigate the waters, you, on your own? Tell me, how are you keeping your head above water?
Well, running a business is a risky venture. It's, as some would say, a crazy venture before you begin to consider going into a business. You have to understand that there will be the difficult times, particularly at first. Most days you wonder if it's ever going to work, if your business will ever scale, if it will ever turn a profit, right? But that's the risk that you take on for the possibility of something that can become very big in the future. But in the early days, it is important to remember that nothing ventured, nothing gained, really. Without risk, there are no rewards, right? And as the economy takes its turns and shifts, you want to stay ahead of that. You want to be aware of what is happening in the economy. You want to stay on top of the changing policies, especially at a time like this where the policies continue to change over and over and over again. Every time there's something new in the news, and you want to be aware of it. And for me, I have to say that luckily I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. I've been doing business for 8 years now, since 2017, as far back as when I was still a student. And it's made it easy for me to understand that the risks of running a business are something that you cannot shy away from. Whether you are a small business or a medium business or even a global business, every business runs at a risk. Big businesses like the likes of Apple, Google, they still have their own risks that they have to navigate. Yes, the circumstances are different, but there is no running a business without that reality of everything could fail.
For those who, because for the last 5 to 10 years, entrepreneurs have continued to emerge in Nigeria with great business ideas, and then came COVID with the very beautiful idea of working from home and sometimes showing up once in a week in offices. And this has somewhat, like you said, that the changes that come with policy and all of that your businesses have to adjust to. But then today, no matter how you adjust, the pain keeps coming. So what do you do? Because I was talking to my colleague who was telling me about a friend who owned a cool room business that shut down, or that they're about to shut down because of the power situation in the country. And, obviously, the price of petrol and diesel is not our mate. So that business, obviously, that services several other businesses, because it's a lifeline to several other businesses, is about to shut down. And that could be detailed for several other businesses also shutting down. Because if these guys are unable to freeze their stuff, then they lose money. And some of these monies could have been loans. Some of these monies could have been borrowed. You get my drift. How do you navigate these waters? Let's talk about it with real life examples.
Right. So, before we get into the real life example, I'd like to first of all talk about the mindset of an entrepreneur. Now, one of the conversations that we've had over and over again is what sets an entrepreneur up for success. And everyone says that the number one marker of someone that's going to succeed as an entrepreneur is grit, perseverance, right? Now, when it appears like the pain just won't stop, today you are battling this, tomorrow you are battling that, and it feels like everyone is out to get you. That's really when you need to show up and prove yourself an entrepreneur, right? Because it's not going to get to a point where you can say, oh, everything is easy now. Today has its challenges. Tomorrow will have its own challenges. These challenges will never stop coming. That's why most entrepreneurs would tell you that it's a lonely job. It's one that keeps you up at night. It's one that makes you question your sanity sometimes. And sometimes you even wonder, why did I get into this? What was I thinking? That's whoever's feeling that way. One thing I want to say is that you're not alone. We all feel it. I feel it. The best of us feel it too. Right. But then from a practical point of view, from our own experience, so in running Flash Change, we've also had our challenges. There's been a time, for instance, when it felt like we were stuck. This was 2023, when it felt like we were just not growing and nothing was working. The marketing wasn't working. The revenue wasn't going up. It didn't even look like we were going to break even at any point. And when I think about it, when I reflect on it, was there some kind of wisdom that we discovered that solved the problem? The reality is, no, there is no special wisdom that you come across. It's just that you keep trying, you keep showing up. That's all we did. We kept showing up, try this, try that, try this, try that. Oh, that didn't work. Try this again. And then eventually, in retrospect, it feels like, oh, at a point, it felt like that was never going to pass. It felt like this challenge was never going to end. But here we are now. And on the days when the new challenge shows up, it's one thing that I like to do for myself. I like to take myself back. I like to cast my mind back to that place where I initially felt like this was never going to pass. And then see how I was wrong. Because somehow we are still standing. And then tell myself that these two shall pass.
Let me ask you a question that a lot of employees would like to hear. You're obviously an employer of labor. How easy is it to cut staff when you know, because for every time that contraction happens, for you to be able to survive, you have to throw some people off the ship. I beg your pardon, not the sheep. If the ship gets too heavy, you have to, take off dead weight. How easy is it for you as an employer of labor to cut your losses and cut staff in a bid to try to survive?
That's never an easy decision. Luckily, we've never been in that position. We've never had to let go of our staff to survive. One thing that we try to do at Flash Change is we try to be careful when we are making decisions. When you're a startup, you want to keep your team as lean as possible. One of the mistakes that entrepreneurs make is they try to take on too much too fast. Try to take on too many projects too fast. Try to take on too many employees too fast. You want to bring in the experts. And yes, it's good. It's great to have experts. It's great to have people that have walked that path and have the experience. But the question is, can you afford it? And then for how long can you afford it? I like to think worst case scenario. What if things go really bad? Can we sustain this? So when we're making hiring decisions, when we're making project decisions, we're thinking, okay, this project is projected to bring in, say, $1 million. What if it brings in $0? The decisions we are making, can we survive? Right. So that's something that guides us when we are making our decisions. Before we get to the point where we need to tell people, oh, you no longer have a job here. But to answer your question, is it an easy decision? It will never be easy to let anyone go. Never.
So I just had a conversation a few minutes ago with, so there's this 30 days rant challenge that's online and people are ranting about, the cost of living crisis. A lady ranted about she has 2 children with special needs and she has to buy medication, and the medication has more than doubled, if not tripled. In fact, gone on by 300%. Another one called me on the phone to say she and her husband have special medications, and for her, this is the last one that she can afford, and then after that, she may not be able to afford it anymore. And she doesn't care what happens, because at this point, if the money is not coming in, then you can't afford to buy it. So it's not just her that's going to suffer health-wise. The man you're buying the medication from, who owns the shop, is going to obviously also suffer, because he's not selling. He has stuff to sell, but cannot sell it because the price is too high. This is ditto for everything, whether it's tomato, whether it's bread, whatever it is. People can no longer really afford these things. But most of these things I'm telling you are small businesses. The guy who sells bread by the junction, the guy who sells mango, the guys who sell, the small things. What kind of business motivation are you going to give to that person who owns that small business? Because you're talking about your entrepreneurship here. That's okay. What about the small business guy? How does that person stay afloat? What kind of ideas do they need to stay in business?
First of all, I like to say that I sympathize. I like what you've brought to light, which is that situations differ. We're all in very different situations, and for a small business, like what you have painted. There's a real problem of limited resources, human capital, money, and reach even. And the circumstances are quite dire sometimes. Now, what I can say is that now, in my experience as an entrepreneur, I started out as a very small business, a solopreneur. And I recall back in the day when making about 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira a day was a good day. That was a good day at work for me. And for the longest time, I never really saw any possibility beyond that, right? Because I just wanted to survive. And you find that with most small businesses, the entrepreneur is really just trying to survive. Now, what I would suggest is that we begin to think beyond our survival. The turning point for me, from going from survival to something more tangible, was taking a loan. It was a friendly loan. I recall 100,000 naira then, to scale the business so that it could be bigger. And one thing that I try to tell people is no matter how smart you are, no matter how driven you are, you can't run a business without money. You need help. And
but in today's economy, who has enough to even borrow to you, let alone go to the banks? The banks are not even giving those small loans anymore. And if they do, the interest rate is neck breaking. I want to open up the phone line so that people can call in and talk, because you're sharing your experience as an entrepreneur with us, which helps. But what about policy making that affects our businesses, that affects us? How do small businesses and entrepreneurships that power the economy get the attention of government? I want to hear your thoughts quickly before I bring Lagos in. How would you, if you were to lead a group of entrepreneurs and small businesses, what demands would you be placing on the government? Because whatever is happening in today's economy affects you directly one way or the other.
All right. So my demand on the government would be that, and this is something that I've always clamored for. So you highlighted earlier the importance of SMEs, the role that SMEs play in the economy, right? SMEs employ so much that it does not, it is difficult to conceive the idea that the government is not doing more for SMEs. Now, yes, there are some facilities in place, right, for SMEs to get a loan. But I'm going to use an experience of a friend that runs a small farm, and then he tried to get a loan from the Bank of Industry. And he was frustrated with the whole process, that he needed to have had this amount of money in the bank. He needed to have been running the account for this amount of time. And this is someone that did not have any money whatsoever. He was just trying to ask for some help. Now, what the government could do is really to make these things easier. There are people that are driven. There are people that have small businesses with big ideas to make it more. And when they make it more, it means that they can employ more. If someone runs a small farm that employs 3, if he's allowed to gain access to facilities and expand, it means that he can now employ 6, employ 10, employ 20, and that increases our GDP. Right? Now, the role of the government is to help. We are not asking for handouts. We are not asking for magic solutions. We just want a little assistance. And then tax breaks also go a long way, because a business that is still starting out, you hear that the taxman is coming to collect his cut and you are palpitating.
I like how you said you hear that the taxman is coming and you're palpitating. But do you, in one sentence, are you happy with the new tax reforms that are in play right now, even though it has not been ratified? But do you see any prospects in it and how it might affect your small business?
Yes, I recently looked at the tax calculator that was released, and I saw that for low income earners, the tax reform means that the low income earners will actually be paying less than they were paying before. And I think that's a step in the right decision.
Okay. All right. Well, Maryann Okon is joining us. He's a small business owner. In fact, he's an entrepreneur. His business has grown beyond very small. And he's talking to us about his experience and surviving under this economy. Now, if you own a business, you're a business person, no matter how small your business is, whether you have a kiosk and a bookie, you sell in the market, whatever your business is, we're talking about it. How do you survive in this economy, and what do you want the government to concentrate on to make your life better? That's our conversation today on Balogun Abroad. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Bidemi is still with us, and you will join the conversation.
Millions of listeners trust us on Hard Fact. Whether it's politics, social issues, controversies, and trending stories, you know we're credible and objective.
It's Hard Facts.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment. Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet of Cerelac Junior comes with the nutrition they need: natural grains, protein, and iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
We see you, Mr. As my guy don't win. Please say don't ginger. No dollar. With the Jolly Just Come welcome offer, BetKing is giving you 100 Naira instant sign-up bonus. That's not all. Within 14 days on the app, you stand a chance to get up to 1 million Naira in rewards and enjoy 50 free casino bets on Aviator. Download BetKing app and register today using the promo code FREEBETS to enjoy your 100 Naira instant bonus and other exciting offers. Terms and conditions apply. Not for persons under 18 years. Play responsibly.
Start your children's day with a great taste of Ovaltine, enriched with multi-nourishment, calcium, malt, and vitamin B12 to support learning and playtime. Ovaltine, smart choice for smart kids.
The question is not why South Africa. The real question is how you South Africa. How you'll come across 1,000 tongues that all speak in one voice. Welcome. How you can wake up with one foot firmly planted in the Indian Ocean and the other in the Atlantic Ocean. How diamonds and couture are but a stone's throw away from the safari. How your tongue will visit 1 million destinations on one plate. How your feet will sway in djembe, your torso in amapiano, and your mind in bliss. How crystal clear rivers flow in the day and crystal flows in the night. Whoa. We know this because this is how we South Africa every single day. And this is why we invite you to South Africa with us. So come see, touch, taste and feel South Africa. Come journey with us. Visit www.southafrica.net and see for yourself.
See how I'm using corner eye to look at you as you keep pressing *321# on your phone. Is it not credit that you want to borrow from Glow?
Yes, now. What happened? Has the code changed?
Where have you been, girl? *303# is the new code to borrow credit and data on Glow.
So the code is no longer *321#, but *303#?
Confirmento. Voila! It worked, oh! Before Uncle, *303#, not before show. But, guy, I hope so the data where you borrow go reach me and you.
Dial *303# to borrow credit and data on Glow and pay later. *303#, new code, same great ease.
Glow Unlimited.
Step into a realm of endless opportunities at Wellspring University. Whether you're aiming to pursue undergraduate studies, top-up programs, postgraduate degrees, we've got you covered. Our commitment lies in nurturing talent, inspiring innovation, and empowering students to unlock their boundless potential. Explore our diverse range
head above water. My guest, Bidemi Okon, is the executive director of Flashpoint, Flashwave. Say it again.
Flash Change Limited.
Flash Change. How did you come up with that name? I'll ask you later. Flash Change. All right, we'll talk about that. I want to bring Lagos into this conversation. If you own a small business, you are a business person, whether you sell pepper in the market, you import tomatoes, you import rice if they catch you. Whatever it is that you do as a business, or you're an abuki, you have one small shop in front of the gatehouse. How is your business faring? And what must we do to get government's attention to deal with this situation that we're all facing? Because it seems like it's squeezed so hard that there's nothing coming out, not even blood, not sweat. It's dry. Join the conversation. 0201-277-0993. You can also call 0201-465-7190 if you're a lady. If you're listening from outside of the country, you can call us on WhatsApp. It's 0809597580. Join the conversation on Facebook and on YouTube. Post your comment. I would like to hear from you. 60 seconds is all you have. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Are you here? Okay. Good evening. Are you hearing me?
We can hear you. You're wasting your time and saying hi. Can you hear me? Go ahead.
Okay, let me speak. Well done for your good work. First of all, you helped me to send greeting to all your staff and all your members there for the good work you are doing for God. So, the reason why I called is that my contribution is to let you people know that as you can see in this country, the difficulty we are facing is that we have no love in us. So anything that functions of...
Sorry, what did you say? Did you say we have no love in us?
Yeah.
How do you mean?
Let me explain why I said so. You see, anything that functions of its own self-worth does not have head. You see, the original creation of man, God created man with the power of love. So anything that makes no man to walk in love, nothing will work. Because love is the greatest all commanding. If you see in our society... All
right, I have to let you go. I'm so sorry. 60 seconds is all you have, and I've given you almost 2 minutes, okay? We have to keep it moving. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts. Hello?
Maryann.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, good evening. I'm calling from Ogudu.
Okay.
My name is a lawyer.
Hi.
Okay, first of all, God is just awesome. He created us in different shades. The last color is just, it takes the cake. Having said that, to pivot back to the conversation, look, anybody that is running the business at the moment and is able to keep 1, 2, 3, couple of staff still on the roll, they deserve an award. That I can just say for free. At the moment, I've had to shut down my business, and it's gone. And literally, selling off in bits, stripping down as the case may be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you got a plan B? Have you got a plan B?
Fortunately, I'm not one to fabricate the truth. There's not there's no plan B right now because it's difficult to plan. It's on a day-by-day basis. It's on a case-by-case basis because things are changing. They're changing very fast. You can't really. There's the only functional business I think for anybody right now, and is even a bit deadly. I wanted to tell you the last conversation you had. I had a situation where I went to the hospital and I treated a condition repeatedly. And it didn't go until we discovered that I was being treated on a fake drug.
No.
Yes. So the last thing you want right now is to be ill. The last thing you want is to be ill. And second of all, literally, we all need to understand what we're dealing with. this headwind, this is the first wave. The second wave is imminent in that in a couple more quarters, except something is done drastically. I kid you not.
Okay.
What is imminent? It's only for the imagination. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. I was waiting for you to land. Olaya, my heart goes out to you because I know what it is to, but I might not know exactly what it is. I have done a little business before, but it's terrible when you watch that business, that baby of yours just die off and you have to sell things off. I'm seeing the look on Bidemi's face like, oh my God. But yeah, that's people's reality in today's economy. Hello, welcome to Balogo and Broad.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
This is Charles from Ojo.
Hi, Charles.
Charles from Ojo, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you that there's no business in this country that we thrive as far as this period is concerned in absence of irregular power supply. Sorry, in absence of power supply.
Yeah.
Regular power supply. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you. I can hear you.
Yeah. This irregular power supply will not allow any business to thrive. And secondly, there's no country that exists without the assistance of another country. No country is self-reliable. It's only Nigeria. So the closure of borders and the high tariff on importation and exportation are contributing so much to the hardship in the economy. So anybody that is doing business now is just trying to survive.
Yeah.
It's a mere effort to survive.
All right.
Not that you are doing business to employ.
Yeah.
Or
just to make ends meet. I understand you, Charles. Thank you so much for calling. I have to take all the calls. I'm so sorry. We have to keep it short so we can get as many people to contribute. If you own a business, we're talking about the cost of living crisis, obviously. My guest is an entrepreneur who owns a small business also, telling us about his experience. But of course, we want to hear yours. Whatever business you do, how are you surviving? Are you coping or are you packing up and leaving? And where are you living to? Do you have the means? Because there are people who can barely afford to eat daily, let alone pay for medication or even travel out of the country. What is the way to go, and what do we need to do to get these guys who are our leaders to pay attention? Because it seems like they live in a totally different world from where we live. Don't forget, the bank charges are there on the one hand. The fact that you have to use your money to buy money from the POSs. The list is endless. You can't afford data as you used to anymore. You can't afford the nice things in life. To buy a loaf of bread, you have to have a little more than minimum wage to be able to eat bread every other week. So where do we go from here? Hello, welcome to Hard Facts. I'm so sorry. Please call me back. 0201-277-0993. You could join the conversation. 0201-465-7190 if you are a lady. You can join the conversation also on WhatsApp. I want to really read messages coming in on WhatsApp. So if you can't call us, send me a message on WhatsApp. It's 08095975-805. We're live on Facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. We're live on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. Post your comments there. I'd like to read. This one says, good afternoon, sis. We're never hungry, or we never hungry. That's pidgin, right? When we're all ready, we all know exactly what to do. And he says, we're lazy citizens. If just 20 million of Nigerians out of 200 million come out, I bet you these so-called leaders, the army and the police, will all run away. Let's continue giving excuses over our failure when hunger almost kills all of us. Then we'll know what to do. Kolawole, thank you for your message. He said, we're talking about hunger and people are calling and talking about God. Oh God, relax. It's their prerogative. Aya here says, Mr. Bidemi is not factual. He's trying to play safe. We're all entrepreneurs and we know how things are. In my own summarization, his answers are just playing safe. The government is doing little to help SMEs and local industries. Cost of production and transportation of eggs and pure water are out of this world. We need to be practical and real. Bidemi, you just got a stray bullet there. No, direct bullet actually. Someone here says our economic policies are yielding results. Exchange rate is stable and food prices are coming down, especially during Ramadan. And he says after Ramadan, Maryann, please reply as a fellow Nigerian. This is Michael from Abulegba. Someone here says, good evening, Maryann. Tinubu said he wants to reduce the purchasing power of Nigerians and also continue from where President Buhari stopped. Where did he say this? He says, so Mr. President is fulfilling his promises that he made to Nigerians. I bet you the Yorubas will still vote for him in 2027. Why are you making it about the Yoruba people now, please? Are the people that are hungry, are they also not Yoruba? Are they... is it? I mean, I don't understand. What do you mean by that? Why are you bringing all of this into? Shehu, yeah, Yoruba man. Why? He says Tinubu will just splash some money around for Nigerians and also bribe INEC chairman. Now you sabi. Anyway, thank you very much. He's sending us that message from Boston, Massachusetts. This one says, I'm extremely sad. For me, it's not been easy. I used to buy Ventolin inhaler for 1,600 and it moved to 2,700 and later jumped to as high as 16,000 naira, but currently it has dropped to 9,000. The alternative to Ventolin, which isn't effective, is 4,000 naira. This is something I take on a regular, like every 3 weeks. I need to buy it because I have other bills to foot. And it's not easy because I have other bills to foot. And he says this government is wicked. I totally understand where you're coming from because I have a family member who has to, use Ventolin and use the inhaler and, the whole shebang. Someone here says, let me read your message quickly, then I go back to the phone lines. Okay, I will come back to that message because it's still downloading. Back to the phone lines. Keep those calls coming in. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Yeah, good evening, Maryann.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You have Emmanuel on the line speaking to you from Ekwe.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
I think a lot of people are ready to go into businesses, farming, and so on, if only government lays the platform. There was this my friend who went into poultry. That was when I know that if you are not feeding the birds, with the right kind of feed they need at a moment, you delay the time of their laying egg, and then they won't even lay the egg to the optimum. He approached back of industry, and at the end of the day, the conditions they were giving him and everything. And some officials were even demanding from bribe, according to the information he gave to me. At the end of it, he was unable to access the fund, because it was time banned. And at the end of the day, everything went south. So it's source of discouragement, and he has vowed, never to go into such a thing again. For me, who knew that story, I won't want to also go into such a
venture.
Adventure. So, government should wake up to its responsibility, so that especially the youth, will be able to create job for themselves, and then meet up. With everything they ought to meet up with. Thank you and good evening.
All right, thank you very much for calling. I do appreciate it. 0201-277-0993. So, Bidemi, let me come to you before I take this next call. Someone said that you're not being practical and you're not being truthful, that you're playing safe, knowing that these SMEs hardly get access to funding and, what's out there is not even enough, let alone accessible.
We try to understand that these are very sensitive topics. We are talking about the livelihood of Nigerians here, and there are quite a number of stakeholders involved. So one of the things that I've seen happen is, as entrepreneurs, we've tried to engage the government, but more often than not, we do it as individuals. We have not come together to approach the government as a collective, right? If you ask the average entrepreneur, do you belong to a body? Do you belong to an organization? The answer is typically no. And the truth is, as one person, nobody's really paying attention to you. as a collective, it's a different story entirely. And when we talk about the government, I share that sentiment of the role of the government completely. But one thing to understand is, who exactly do you engage? Now, when people say the government, the government, the government, the government, we sort of think about it as just the president, right? And of course, a fish rots from the head. But then you want to look at who is the easiest person for you to get in touch with. If I wanted to get in touch with the president today, that's impossible. Where do I start?
Yeah,
from?
but you see
Right?
but you see, a caller also made a point saying even the people that have been saddled with the responsibility to address those issues that you have are cutting corners, are asking for kickbacks, which also brings about some bottlenecks and makes it difficult for you to access whatever funds that are available. True or false?
Absolutely true. Absolutely. So someone called earlier and was talking about love. I understand that it might feel like it's coming from a perspective that some people might not be willing to entertain. But I hear where it's coming from, because what he's basically saying is be your brother's keeper. And in a country where your fellow countryman is thinking, before I can facilitate your loan, you have to give me kickbacks. Before I can approve your loan, you have to give me 10% of it, 20% of it. Then his approach, though it appears a little unorthodox, it has a point. That if we as Nigerians would play our own part, yes, there's the important role of the people at the top, but what about our roles in as little as we can?
One to another. So how do we treat one another? That's the bigger question. Lovely.
Yes.
All right, I want to take a few more calls because of time. 0201-277-0993. That's the line for the gentlemen. The ladies, 0201-465-7190. We're talking about businesses. How can you stay afloat amidst the cost of living crisis? That's what we're talking about. Hello. Welcome to Balogun and Broad.
Hello, good evening, beautiful, great Maryann Okon.
Thank you very much.
This
What's your
is
name? Where are you
Godwin.
calling from?
My name is Godwin, calling from Lakwe.
Go ahead.
Well done once again for the great job you are doing. For the business and the situation of the citizens today in this country, Nigeria, under the APC government, it is a total collapse and a deadly situation everyone, ordinary Nigeria, are going through. Which area can we say that Nigerians are having it easy? They deceived and said they closed the border. And now they have enough to produce for Nigerians to survive. Now, where is that? Of recent, they said last year they brought how many trailers of rice and whatever to the country to eliminate the situation of hunger. Where are those? So it is defeat, and it is clear from the Bible that when the wicked are on the throne, the citizens suffer, and that is the typical biblical, practical situation Nigerians are facing under these wicked rulers today in this country.
Thank you very much, Godwin, for calling. We do appreciate your thoughts. Keep them coming on Facebook and on YouTube Live. We want to take your thoughts and comments. Do you own a small business? Are you an entrepreneur? How are you surviving? Maybe you're not even a business person. You probably are the one who's, patronizing the businesses. How do we keep head above water? Kenny from Ikoyi says, there is this ATM machine at the entrance of Parkview Estate belonging to Access Bank. I went there for the first time to withdraw 3K. The message on the screen before I withdraw said charges 645 naira. Are you sure? He said, I thought it was an error. I declined. I went there a week after. It was still the same. Even POS will not charge you 400 naira to withdraw 500 naira. Kenny from Ikoyi. Interesting things are happening. Who can confirm that for me? Can someone go there and confirm it? Someone here says, contemplating stopping my fashion shop to sell food stuff because PHCN bill and fuel won't kill me. Gloria, I feel you. This one's from Franklin, and Franklin says, Maryann, you see that jackpot? It doesn't make one get sense. See the kind of thoughts that uncle from, okay, let's not be rude, Franklin. Thinking about ethnicity regarding the suffering in the land, it confirms that you may take a Nigerian out of Nigeria but not be able to take Nigeria out of the Nigeria. By the way, he's also a Yoruba man, just so you know, Franklin. What he was trying to say, obviously, I shut it down. You can't just, single out a group of people, but it's okay. Yemi here says, for the SME, the challenges we're facing is high. The levies from local government and state governments is increasing. The irregular power supply is affecting our businesses. We can't do anything without data. MTN and the others are killing us. Cost of transportation, even with our own vehicle, high fuel, power, is being long. We service our AC now, safe. Yummy. I feel you. Hello, welcome to Balogun Broad.
Hello, good evening, madam.
Good evening. What's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
Let me just be anonymous, please.
Okay.
I'm calling from Agbado.
Okay.
My son is in Akwa Ibom State, serving right now.
Mm-hmm.
The money that comes to his hand is not enough. And I don't have job. When he sends his picture, I am not really comfortable. I don't know what to do. And even the NYSC too cannot support him to go to hospital or anything like that.
Oh, sorry. Is your son sick while he's in he's serving?
He will say it's okay, but what he's going through, the money they are paying him is not enough. When he went to the school authorities that is not well, but before he knows, they went and reported because he couldn't go to work. They reported him to the NYSC. He went there to report himself. Now they are now extorting money from him before they can now say, well, they have cleared him for the month. I'm not really comfortable serving Nigeria. I don't have enough money to support him. We have been saving money.
I'm not in any way, holding brief for the NYSC. This is something that should be investigated. I mean, if someone's sick and is unable to show up,
the money coming to his hand is not enough.
I understand.
I have other bills to pay. I can't support him the way it's supposed to be.
I understand, but there's good news. I hear that Mr. President has approved the paying of 77,000 naira to core members, so they will receive it by the end of the month.
The old money will go for medicals. The old money will go for medicals. So this is unfair.
Is there a way that he could?
Unfair.
Is there a way he could get a doctor's report and then just come home and take care of himself? Because I really don't know. Where is he serving, in Akwa Ibom?
Abak, yes, Abak.
Abak is almost a city now. I hear. I'm
not really comfortable.
It's something that we can look into. It's something that you probably need. You as a parent, you probably need to write to the NYSC to deal with. But I want to thank you for calling. My time is gone. My time is up. I'm so sorry. But you can do me a favor and send me a full message. Maybe we can pick it up from there. But Bidemi, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. We're totally out of time. Thank you so much. Bidemi Okon is the executive officer of Flash Change. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Bidemi. And good luck with your business. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, Lagos, this is where I say my goodbyes. I'll see you tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, MIMIEYO.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
Attention, travelers. Pack your bags. ValueJet now flies from Lagos to Owerri and Owerri.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.